for breast cancer at Liverpool's Northern Hospital. Paul was only 14. Mike, just 12. The week of the funeral, Paul and Mike went to stay with their Auntie Gin, their father having no wish for them to see him so badly broken up. Mary was finally laid to rest on November 3rd, 1956, at Yew Tree Cemetery outside of Liverpool. Not surprisingly, after Mary died, life on Forthland Row was far different for the McCartneys. Jim, of course, was now forced to be both breadwinner and full-time housekeeper. Although his sisters Mill and Gin helped out when and where they could, it was still a terrible strain on the 53-year-old salesman. As children, neither of the boys really showed any special interest in music. Their father did sign them up for piano lessons as youngsters, but made the mistake of starting them in the summer. After about 2 or 3 lessons, getting them to practice became a high-stress situation, and so, reluctantly, Jim allowed them to quit. Later he insisted Paul try out for a spot in the Liverpool Cathedral Choir, but he resisted and apparently deliberately cracked his voice at the audition. Eventually, though, Paul did sing in the St. Chad's Choir off Penny Lane for a time, but soon tired of the choir master's overly regimented approach and dropped out. His first instrument, a low-budget acoustic, soon became the overriding force in his life. It's funny, he says, but everyone remembers their first string box. Mine was a Zenith. I'd no idea where it was going to lead at the time. I just started bashing away and pretty soon had all the basic chords well and truly learned. Then I got a bit more ambitious and bought a solid Rosati, a Lucky 7. It only had 2 strings, and when I played it, it didn't really produce a very melodic sound, but I kept the volume right down, and it seemed okay to me. In an exclusive 1984 interview conducted by this author at a posh Liverpool eatery, Mike McCartney, who after the Beatles' first hit officially changed his last name to McGear, recalled he and Paul's early musical influences.
In our old days, we were flipped out listening to every word, because our kid and I used to be the Everly Brothers. Listen to every word, every nuance, every sort of feeling to get it exactly right. Little Richard, our kid did Little Richard, learned it very quickly, and one of the few white people that Little Richard is acknowledged as being a good interpreter of him.
Along with McCartney's interest in the guitar came a growing awareness of rock and roll. Before long, it wasn't just the music that had captured his imagination, but the whole freewheeling rock lifestyle as well. A fellow classmate at the Institute, Ian James, also took up the guitar, and soon the two were cycling around Liverpool with their instruments strapped to their backs, looking for places to play. Much to Jim McCartney's dismay, Paul had even taken to wearing the sort of clothes a guitar-picking teddy boy might choose. With his long, slicked-back hair piled high above his forehead, narrow, drain-pipe trousers, and white, sparkly sports coat, his perpetually innocent choir-boy face seemed quite incongruous. At 14, he was far from being a tough Liverpool teddy boy, but he was also Ivy Leagues away from being the proper English schoolboy his father would have obviously preferred. Hopping on board the bus for the dreamy half-hour morning ride to school, McCartney soon made friends with the driver's son, George Harrison, who, like McCartney, was smitten with the guitar. The two soon started hanging out together after school and inevitably began the thankless job of teaching themselves the new chords necessary to carry forward their boyish fantasies of one day playing in a big group. Those fantasies, however, would soon move a major step closer to reality. Paul McCartney's fortuitous first meeting with John Lennon officially took place on July 6, 1957, at a garden fete at St. Peter's Parish Church. That year, as a concession to the basically church-shy teenage youth of Woolton, a local group of lads known as the Quarrymen were slated to appear. Performing mostly covers of well-known rock and skiffle tunes, the 5 young men jived their way through a rapid-fire repertoire of numbers ranging from Maggie May to Railroad Bill and Cumberland Gap. In those days, the Quarrymen were Colin Hanton on drums, Rod Davis banjo, Len Gary bass, Eric Griffiths guitar, Pete Shotton washboard, and, of course, John Lennon guitar and lead vocal. Mixed into the happily swaying crowd that afternoon was Paul McCartney, who'd come along for the day at the suggestion of Ivan Vaughan, a mutual friend of both John and Paul. After the Quarrymen's swinging first set, Ivan led Paul across the road to the band's impromptu dressing room in St. Peter's Church Hall. "This is John," Vaughan ventured upon entering the large, sweltering room. "Hi," replied